And now we're on to game 3, which is happening just because these games are great, but I feel like I was a victim of circumstance. Doran, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. My deck is still in. My deck needs to go back to the shop. I thought I had it the way I wanted it, but apparently there's room for growth. So we're taking care of that later. But for now, Mythos versus Shuyin 178. Shuyin is going first, using Regalia. Considering... Oh, wait. It might not be Regalia. Regalias do not use that unit anymore. What the hell? Oh yeah, that's not a counterblast. So he's grade 3 searching. I don't know why he gave up a heal in hand to do that. Does it have to hit or does it just have to boost? Oh, it has to hit. And it didn't. Yeah, this is a witch deck. So it's witches versus Aqua Force. There's Tidal Assault. I wonder if Mythos has a grade 3. Because for him to do what he just did to try to get one might mean he doesn't have one at all. We have to find out here. And now it looks even more like he doesn't have one at all. So 9k to the Vanguard. It's guarded and it gets a soul charge as a result. It's kind of funny how well the Regalia cards work hand in hand with the Witches on the Genesis side. That was another 9k. It was taken. 14 to the Vanguard. She might not... Shuyin might not guard this. Draw trigger appears. And then the top 5 check is going to happen. So if Mythos doesn't have a grade 3 by now, probably about to get one. No, not in there. Is Mythos about to misride? If Mythos misrides, I'm gonna say right now that DS has a curse in this team battle. I'm just gonna say that DS has a curse in this team battle. I mean, I admit game 1 was my stupid mistake in my fight. Because I 1-passed, and I could have 2-passed, or I could have no-guarded and kept the 10k in hand. I could have done either one of those things. And I would have been much better off than I was not doing them. But apparently stuff happens. And then game 3, even with all those grade 3s in hand, I did my best, and I probably could have rode Aclopus to get the win from that, but I just felt so strongly like it would be guarded. So Reverse Maelstrom gets ridden, and since it's at grade 3, you can Counterblast 1 to restand that unit. Of course, doing 4 battles right now doesn't mean anything. Might restand just to... Oh wait, can't restand because you have to Counterblast a Blue Storm, and none of those are Blue Storm. Heal trigger appears. I am slowly but surely cleansing myself of the salt that came from my match. Or that is to say, I'm doing my best to. Legion. It's got 4 triggers. I'm probably going to use them all. So, Witch of Sea Eagle Fennel has the ability to Counterblast 1 to Soul Charge 3. And after it attacks the Vanguard, it can actually Soul Blast 3 in order to check the top 5 and put 2 Witches into the hand. Witches have a Perfect Guard, and if you use the Shadow Paladin variant, they have a Quintet, technically. So we could see her building up some defenses here, or just getting some offense generated, one or the other. Mythos is using a limit break unit, so there's really no reason to guard. And I think he forgot that there's a Legion skill. And I think he also forgot to look at the soul to see if he could call units from it. Because that's supposed to be 16. Well, it doesn't matter now. Luckily, Mythos didn't draw after he stood his units. And those are interesting. But yeah, now Mythos has limit break because Shuyin allowed it. Also has a blue storm and damage, so he can counterblast it in order to make this guy restand. So what I expect to see happen is Tidal Assault just attacked, just restood. Next I expect Spyros to attack. And that either is going to be guarded or not. Then counterblast that one blue storm to restand it and hit the intercept. And if Shuyin is smart, you'll notice that that's what's about to happen and will intercept right now. intercept and 5k from hand. Just so that Spyros has to whiff in order for that to be another attack. That would be the smartest thing that could be done at this point. And it's what's happening. Still gonna counterblast, stand, and attack. And then Maelstrom reverses ability, counterblast 1, lock and rest and lock a unit, but resting and locking is kind of weird, so just lock a standing. And then it gets plus 5k, plus 1 crit, and at the end of this, it can retire a unit and draw a card. If they block. If they don't block, then they take the 2 critical. So now Mythos has all of the advantage. And the damage evened out because of the heal trigger. Tidal Assault should be resting, but Mythos' opponent isn't using Mega Colony, so it doesn't matter. So what is Shuyin gonna do now? Not much is happening at the moment. He's probably trying to think of how to circumvent this reverse. Which, you know, it is a good question. How do you deal with this? I'm not gonna say I know for sure how to deal with it, but okay, here we go. Play to unit soul charges. I can only guess that Shuyin was debating a ride and chose not to. Oh, sorry. Hiccup. But yeah, I can only guess that Shuyin was debating to ride and then decided not to. And is just gonna play some units and attack. And I guess if that's the choice, Shuyin is deciding how many and what units. Shuyin did get that exactly, which can be used to Soul Blast 1 and turn one of those units meant to give 4 battles into a grade 0. Which helps them both, actually. It helps Mythos because the grade 0 can be that Supersonic Sailor, which will give an unflip. But it helps Shuyin because it's harder for Mythos to get 4 battles with 1 unit standing. Which is what Industry Maelstrom Reverse wants to do. Mythos no guards the Vanguard to get to Limit Break, I'm assuming. Draw trigger appears, but no crits. Was the 16k guarded? I couldn't see if the first 16k attack was even guarded. Had to have been. And the field is exactly what it was before. Literally nothing has changed with that field. So first is a 16 attack, then Tidal is going to stand itself. Then a 16 attack on the other side from Spyros, which should prompt 2 intercepts, so that the restanding Spyros is not going to have anything it can actually hit. Nope. Blocks with 10k. That was a mistake. And if I was Mythos, I would have hit the 12k attacker, but that's just me. Technically doesn't matter, because they both hit for good numbers and she's not using stands. Shuyin, no guards. Gets Supreme Maelstrom. Well, Glory Maelstrom. And then the second is the Penguin. So Shuyin cheats death by not seeing criticals on that turn, on that drive check. But that means that Shuyin has to go into endgame mode, and Mythos really does look like he has the cards to defend. I mean, I'm not going to say it's over until it's actually over, but it's kind of getting close. Goes for Spyros this time. Not a bad idea, but I think I'd go for title personally. Just because title is, even though it stands up weaker, it's a costless restand, which is perfect fodder for him to just get the reverse skill going. I think that was a heal. Yeah, that was a heal. So right now is deciding whether to all Vanguard or not. That is a 2-pass. If y'all Vanguarded him, got another trigger, it would hit. And he did it. And he got another trigger. Double heal. Double heal all Vanguard, so now the damage is 5-3 because that happened. But that also means Mythos doesn't need much to guard these next two attacks. He's got it. The situation wasn't reversed completely. It depends on if Mythos can have 4 battles and still... Oh, never mind. He has Glory. He doesn't need 4 battles anymore. He's going to call the Penguin, Soul Blast 2, draw a card. And with Glory Maelstrom, it's going to gain 5k. And it's going to make Shuyin lose the ability to guard with anything that's not a grade 0. If it was me, I'd probably keep the reverse. If only because it would help him gain more advantage than to not do it. Shuyin probably has things like Quintet Walls and Perfect Guards in hand, which would have blocked it, but still, you could have gotten a retire and a draw. Tidal Assault is still there, and he could have always just chose to do an unboosted 16k attack. Now he's attacking 21 with the Tidal Assault, and on restand it's going to be 9k, so it can still hit a rear. And finally 18, and knowing needs 5k to block because critical trigger earlier. Mythos got a perfect guard, but he's really going to have to block. So let's see what can happen here. I'm pretty sure the double heal did turn the tide completely in Shuyin's favor. Very unlikely scenario. Perfect guard in use. Only gonna need two 10Ks to block the rears, unless a trigger appears. Perfect guard though. Perfect guard means that glory. Well, actually, because it's glory, perfect guards mean nothing. It means a rear isn't getting through. And Mythos is forced to quintet wall just to survive. He even mentioned that he really didn't want to. And he's forced to intercept as well, so he just lost the title assault. He plays the Legion mate of Tetra Burst Dragon, which does nothing because his Vanguard isn't in Legion. Blocking Glory Maelstrom won't be easy at this point. But I say that mostly because I don't know how many grade zeros are in Shuyin's hand. That intercept may have been a mistake. Two pass. Let's see what the triggers entail. And nothing. He did get a perfect guard, but unfortunately, I don't think there's any realm of the universe in which that's enough, in which 3 cards in hand and no counterblast is enough to guard. Especially when fighting a Legion. And even more especially because... Well, let me put it this way. The only way Mythos would have been able to guard is if that one stray card that's still in his hand was a grade 0. Was a 10k shield. Then he could have guarded. But game 1 goes to Shuyin. Good games. On to game 2.